Hi all, it's Teresa. Well, I wanted to show you a recent acrylic painting of mine that I did months ago. But I wanted to show you the painting progression on this one. And maybe it will give you some good ideas when you're doing your own acrylic paintings. Okay, so I knew I wanted to include a lot of elements in this painting and a lot of symbolism. So I found this 32 by 40 inch printed canvas in a thrift store, and it was probably only about $10 or $12. And it's 1.5 inches thick on a really nice sturdy wood frame. And I'm just painting it with a base color of blue with this leftover interior house paint. I had a good idea of the basic composition that I wanted, and I put together the elements using a very simple paint program on my computer. I wanted the face to be right in the middle of the painting, and so I'm drawing on the face and the body so that I get those proportions on the painting correct from the very beginning. Then I block in the basic colors for the body and the face. Then after measuring a little, I decided that the head needed to be a little bit bigger to be correct with the proportion of the body and to be right in the middle of the painting. After that, I started blocking in the basic structure of the face. One thing I love to do when I'm painting is to jump around in the painting from different elements. I get bored painting something, so I go to the background or to other elements in the foreground. I got some good references of the planet Saturn online, and I just made up my own version of it. I painted this circle freehand, and it was really fun painting in all these different colors and different intensities and shades of blue, and making up a lot of it too. I really enjoyed this, putting in the background of the universe. This went on for quite a while because I was really enjoying painting this universe. And I did use a lot of different reference photos for this, but of course my version looks pretty different than the reference photos. You kind of can't go wrong painting the universe because it's so varied. I started noticing that the planet itself wasn't exactly round. So I used this lampshade to draw on an exact circle. Okay, so now I had to tackle these rings of Saturn, and originally I just freehand painted these on. And I ended up doing the same thing with these rings of Saturn. I used a French curve to get the proper curves so that it looked correct in perspective. After I did that, I got to paint something different in the universe. I did the star clusters, and I introduced a couple more colors, and I really had fun doing that too. Okay, so I procrastinated enough before tackling the face. And originally my reference of my face was looking exactly straight at the viewer. I decided I didn't like that, so I took a few more reference pictures of my face, and I was looking a little more to the left. So I had to make quite a few changes in the face so that it did look like I was looking off a little bit to the side. So with the face, this introduced a lot of little details, like the color of the eyes, that I introduced a lot of colors into because I wanted them to really be emphasized with a lot of detail. My painting style is super realism, so I really get into these portraits. After I got the basics of the face painted in, I went to the arms and shoulders and body to work on those colors and proportions and making sure that they worked well with those in the head too. And that's what I do when I'm painting. I jump around to make sure all the elements are working well with all the other elements in the painting. So everything continues to look pretty balanced. After that, I was really eager to start on these two figures that were symbolic in a previous painting I had done years ago. And I wanted to include the symbolism from that entire previous painting in this painting, kind of to make them look like thoughts that were still with me. And I hadn't tried this painting technique before to make them look faded in and transparent. So this was an interesting painting exercise for me. I was struggling with this painting technique, and in the morning I was still not happy with these scratchy looking brush strokes. They didn't make the figure look like it was faded out. So I painted over it again with more solid colors and tried a different painting technique. So my paintings tend to be learning experiences for me. I'm always learning different painting techniques using acrylics. The next elements I wanted to include were also from a previous painting I had done years ago. Tarot cards are themselves very symbolic. So there's a lot of symbolism that these graphics represent about myself, of course. I wanted these tarot cards to look very dimensional, like they were jutting out towards the viewer. So I included shadows underneath them. So getting back to the basic symbolism of the influence of Saturn, Saturn tends to represent limitations, difficulties, and lessons to be learned, our own lessons to be learned from karmic relationships or repeating patterns in our lives. And some of these difficulties are the result of the influence from our own personal devils. So I posed for a devil figure, and I placed the devil in different locations in the painting, but ended up putting the devil in the lower corner. I didn't want the devil right beside my head on my shoulder. And he went through many iterations of painting styles and colors and how much detail I wanted to add. And I ended up giving him the same eye color as mine, green, because he's my own personal devil. We all have one. And also, I realized I didn't want him to be so highlighted and emphasized. He seemed to have too much importance in the painting. So I added some blue tones and toned down the body to try to make him look a little more transparent. And that served also to give that figure more dimension. The knee of his bent leg looked like it was coming more forward then, and the same with his hand pointing out. So one of the tarot cards that I had included in that previous painting is the Queen of Wands. And you can see that she's flanked on both sides of her throne by two lions. And I had shown one of the lions as getting up and leaving. Either that or this lion is trying to warn me and protect me against this devil. It can definitely symbolize both. So after I was satisfied with the look of the devil, I added in this curve to kind of simulate the curvature of the earth below these two figures. And also added in Venus and Mars, of course. That's some obvious symbolism here, I think. But I was still feeling critical about this look on my face. Every time I walked in the room, it just caught my attention, and I just wasn't completely happy with it. Because of the influence of Saturn, I wanted to have more pursed lips, which indicate disapproval, frustration, stress, tension, not completely happy. But boy, this gesture was so difficult. Every little brushstroke seemed to make kind of a big difference. And with that, I'm pretty much finished with this painting. I've been known to take paintings off of my wall and start working on them some more. So we'll see. And did I mention that this self-portrait is pretty life-size? It was really difficult getting this gesture to be exactly the way I wanted it to convey the feelings and emotions I was having because of this influence of Saturn. I hope you got some good ideas for your own acrylic paintings, and if you like this video, can you please give it a thumbs up? So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate the viewer support. Bye-bye.